Hi, are you happy? Enjoying your job? Would you stay if you weren't? What about your staff? Are they happy? Are they enjoying the job? Should they stay if they're not? If your staff are not happy, then they're not engaged. If, on the other hand, they are, then they're easily managed, self-motivated actually, and self-driven. Today, we're going to talk about happiness, joy, engagement, culture, strategy, and an old housewife's tale or two. First off, let's paint a picture of how these all string together and what they mean. So, some definitions. Joy is not happiness. Joy is a momentary expression, like a child getting an ice cream, or watching your sports team win. Happiness, on the other hand, is an enduring state of mind. It's more resilient, and it is a feeling of contentment with the direction in which your life is going. Happiness is more a background state than a momentary excitement. Happiness is about your future and what you perceive is in it, is coming forth for you. It will dictate your energy levels. It will even dictate your emotional state and your actions and how you make things evolve in your life. It all comes from happiness, or the lack of. It will, in effect, create reactions to your perception of your future. Now, the really important thing about happiness, it's about your realistic expectations of the future. Not the reality of your future, but your realistic expectations of the future. Let me tell you a story. Now, if you watch the channel intro, you might have heard this one before, so I'll mix it up a little bit. Modify it. Imagine I came to you and said, on Monday, you're going to be promoted. The board's meeting on Monday, and they're going to surprise invite you into the board meeting. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a heads up, because you might want to be prepared for that, but you've got a big promotion coming. This promotion will be putting you in charge of the Western Division distribution for the whole country. It obviously comes with quite a pay rise and quite a lot more responsibility. So Monday comes around, and I bet you are feeling pretty happy. In fact, I bet you're feeling happy with yourself right now. Not just Monday, but from now all the way through to Monday. Not only that, but I bet you're starting to imagine where this new role will take you, how nice the new money will be. I bet you're also starting to imagine, dream if you like, what opportunities this will open up and where it will go for you in the future. And think about it. Think about the way this would impact your thinking and mind. You'd be happy and you'd be engaged with the company, strangely enough, and you'd also be engaged with where it's going, what the plans are and how you're going to fit into that. You'd start to think and construct of how you could build a future for yourself. What might be the next stepping stone from here? You actually start to build a picture of the future based on your own happiness. You suddenly have a little bit more energy. You're up to speed. We talk about getting out of bed on the wrong side, but there's also getting out of bed on the right side. You'd very much feel like that, wouldn't you? Of course, Monday comes around and you find out that I was wrong. Not only did you not get promoted, you didn't get invited into the board meeting. In fact, you never even got a mention. But I guarantee you were still happy between now, when you got the news, and Monday when you found out it was bogus. You were also energized between now and Monday. You were engaged with the company, and your thought pattern, your enthusiasm and positiveness, is there such a word? Your positive outlook towards the company were on a high all that time. I'm pretty sure that between now, when you got the news, and Monday, you were doing the best in absolutely everything that you took part in your work situation, possibly even outside of your work situation. You were in fact motivated, inspired, and, well, wait for it, engaged. And at the core of that was your happiness and what was happening in the future for you. So you see, happiness is much more than joy. In fact, between now, when you've been given the news, and Monday when you found out that it wasn't quite so true, it probably would have taken a lot to knock you and take the happiness and joy out of your life. Really joyful events would still be joyful, but those ones that might be a little bit sadder wouldn't impact you quite so much, because you'd have this underlying grounded joy of life. You would be focused on your next reality. Now I know, you know that I'm right. You just need to think about it. You just need to sit there and dream it. And even just the dreaming of it, so long as you don't tell yourself it's just a dream, if you actually engage in the dream, you already start to feel better, and you start to feel more engaged and more driven and more company focused and more build upon that. You don't only just take happiness and joy out of the news you've been given, you take a future out of it, and you start to contribute to that future. Don't you? Think about it. I bet you do. You also get a change in your energy levels. They go up, not down. Funny thing about engagement and motivation. All of this could be summed up in one statement. You started thinking forward, not backward. Or even right here, you started thinking about the future. Your happiness comes out of your future, but happiness also drives your future. It gives you the energy to construct it. It gives you the drive and that wonderful word engagement to build the future. You start to think there rather than here. Things that happen here are beyond your control, and you start to realize that. That's part of the underlying thing of happiness and part of the underlying thing of engagement. You know, I've had bosses over the years, and I've been one of those bosses over the years that says, don't tell me about problems, tell me about the solutions, tell me about how you're going to solve them. Underlying that is this thought of become future focused. Okay, we've got an issue. How do we solve that, and what's that going to look like for us? How's it going to move us forward? What are we going to achieve with that? Forward, future thinking. And as soon as you got that forward thinking, didn't you? And you might have noticed in an exercise, if you just did it dreaming a little bit, that started to happen. So, joy, happiness, culture, strategy. How do they all fit together? Well, joy is momentary, and it's good to have fun at work. It really is. It really is an important part of enjoying going to work every day. But it's not your happiness. Your happiness is about having a plan and a future and where you're going. And there are lots of ways to construct that. But more importantly, if you construct a view that is universal across your team, or even the company, or any individual group in amongst that, then the whole group will start to be happy and excited about a future that they share. Strangely enough, they'll form a culture that's forward-thinking and problem-solving rather than problem-focused, solution-based. They'll also start to engage in building that, and their energy levels will come up, and they'll start to self-drive. They'll start to self-manage, and in fact, all you have to do is light that fire, tend it a little bit, and the fire itself will become all-consuming and drive itself forward. It may sound really out there and airy-fairy, but it is actually that simple. There is a really important key here that needs to be understood. But first, let's talk about an old wives' tale, an old housewife's tale, because I love old housewives' tales, or should I say, wisdoms. There is a tale that says, how are you going to have a dream come true if you don't have a dream? And another that says, a daydreamer is wasting his life, but a planner is building it. These two statements bring together decades of wisdom and understanding about how we work as people. In order to have a dream come true, first you've got to dream it. You've actually got to have a forward-looking vision to see where you're going. But you've got to really believe in your ability to execute on that dream, to make it a reality, or you're just wasting your time. You're in fantasy land. And it's key with happiness, we start to realize that it's the belief that it's going to be real that produces happiness. Daydreaming is just that, it's daydreaming. You've got to have a belief that it's going to be real. This links your happiness in your life to your future in your life, and more importantly, to the reality in which you believe will happen, to your belief in your future. So happiness builds on itself, a bit like a fire. You need to light it and get it going and tend it a little bit, but it'll keep itself going. So long as it's believable, everybody will start to get engaged and their energy levels will rise and they'll start thinking forward about the plan and how to execute it and drive it forward. You and your staff just need a believable plan to latch onto, something that they can get in behind. And that needs to be painted in a picture that they can understand. A story needs to be told that they can actually go, yeah, this guy's got it. He knows where we're going. I'm excited by that. And behind that will come the happiness. So to recap, joy is momentary, but happiness is a realistic view of our future. To get staff, and dare I say ourselves, engaged, we need to create a plan. A plan is really just a view of the future that has executable steps that prove to us it's achievable, it is actually doable. And that's where we'll find the happiness. So one really key fact here that you've got to get is if you paint a picture, you build a plan, and the happiness levels in your staff don't rise immediately, the day you unveil your plan, you probably got it wrong. They don't believe in it. So either the plan's wrong or the marketing and execution of that plan. Because they will be happy now, not when the plan's executed. Just as being told you're going to get a promotion changed your behaviour and made you happy now, all the way through to when you found out it wasn't fact. The change will be now. It will be almost instantaneous, and it's like lighting a fire. It won't be a raging fire, it'll be the kindling starting to light. You'll see it change. And then what you need to do is tend to that, encourage that, get them building towards that. And the more people you can get involved in promoting and driving that vision, the happier the whole team will be, the more engaged, the more energy they'll have, and the more creative they will be. Think about it. Every time you've really gotten behind something, you've really got engaged, you've been energized by it, you've often worked more hours than you should have, or needed to. You enjoyed being at work. You had something you wanted to achieve and get out of the way, right up to the point where it was actually achieved. And think about this point as well. You always need to be future thinking. You always need to have a plan that's encouraging and driving forward. There is a point of rest and exertion, rest and exertion when it comes to managing. But you need to have a what's next. Because also think about it, every time you've engaged in a plan yourself, you've driven forward and you've achieved success, there's been a little celebration and then a little flat period. Mostly because, well, what do I do now? It might be an exaggeration, but in ourselves, in our personalities, that's not the way it works. It's actually, cool, I'm going to build another plan, another view, another future where my happiness can come from. Now this might tell you something. It might tell you that personally, for yourself, make a plan. Have a future. You know, lots of books talk about this, but they don't talk about why you need to do it. You know, they talk about the 3, 6 months, 12 months plan, and even the 3 and 5 year plan. Where am I going? What am I doing? How am I going to achieve that? How can I get there? The reason is, that's where your happiness is. And out of your happiness comes motivation, drive, and also we'll talk in a later video about things like cortexual filtering. What you see, what you will find by your attitude and vision, all comes out of that. You need to do the same thing for your staff as well. It's harder with staff. It's harder externally because you have got to plant an idea of a future, get them to adopt it for themselves, have belief in it, and drive it forward, to engage with it. You need it to become the source of their happiness. And so for that, you need to become a little bit of a storyteller. You need to have a little bit of a marketing campaign. You need to be able to articulate what a plan is and that it's achievable. The last thing you want is your staff to go, we've got another guy who's got great ideas and we're going to run around doing it for him. It's got to be, man, this is cool. I can get in behind this. I can do this. We can really create something here. This is cool. Part of the story to that, which we'll cover in another video, is building the story, the background story to it, the presence, rolling it forward, having some wins to build evidence. This is real, it can be done, we're doing it now. Happiness is where it's at. And trust me, if your staff are not happy, they really shouldn't stay, and nor should you. But you can change that. You really can. It really is in our futures.